Hey everyone, this is Julian with Julian Tech Reviews, and we're here with another exciting video. We are going to take a look at the Motorola Moto G Power 2025, and we're going to decide if this is a really good budget-friendly option for you in 2025. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon to keep up with all of my videos as I post them. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So I decided to, take a left turn from the flagship phones and from the Samsungs and everything of the world and just step into the world of Motorola. Now, this is the Motorola G Power 2025. There is a 2024 version, which is at the time right now about $150 on the Motorola website. So just keep that in mind when you're buying the 2025 version. So this is Motorola's attempt for a budget-friendly phone that packs a lot of power. So basically, this is like a semi-flagship killer. You can get this on Motorola's website right now for $299, and it comes in two colors. We got leaf green, and then we have the slate gray. So black and green for those that don't understand. And I decided to get this one so I can test out and see if Motorola is still alive and breathing. But it seems like they are, and their phones are good. They have the Motorola Razr. They have the budget-friendly phones available. So it seems like their strategy is to get flagship when it counts and stick with budget-friendly and get a lot of sales. But with every video, we are going to go over the specs. So as I mentioned, it's $299. Let's go ahead and talk about the body. And we have a 208 grams of weight. And the build of this is a Gorilla Glass 5 with a silicone polymer, eco leather, which is on the back, and a plastic frame. So this is IP69, IP68 dust and water resistance, and it has a high pressure water jets, immersible for 1.5 meters up to 30 minutes. It is military standard 810H compliant, right? So they are guaranteeing their ruggedness on this phone. The display is an IPS LCD, a refresh rate at 120 Hertz. The size of this phone is 6.8 inches or diagonal. And the resolution is 1080 by 2388 pixels or 385 ppi density. This is running Android 15 with a MediaTek Dimensity 6300 chip. It has a GPU of Mali G57. Okay, this has a card slot for your memory. So now we can add more more storage to this. The internals, it gives you 128 gigs of RAM, 120 gigs of storage, 8 gigs of RAM. And there's no variations of that. So a bummer on that. Let's talk about the camera. It is a dual setup, which is a 50 megapixel wide angle camera and an 8 megapixel ultra wide, bummer. And then it has a LED flash, HDR and panorama, and it shoots up to 1080p on the video. Selfie camera is 16 megapixel wide angle camera. It has a 1080p video recording. It has a loudspeaker with the sound and with Dolby Atmos. And once again, with the budget friendliness comes great things. It has a 3.5 millimeter jack in its back, guys. So Motorola is keeping nostalgia great. It has NFC, it has radio, FM radio. It has GPS, Bluetooth, I already mentioned that. It has a fingerprint sensor, which is on the side. It has an accelerometer, gyro, proximity compass barometer. The battery is a 5,000 milliamp battery. It charges 30 watts wired and 15 watts wireless. And that's pretty much it. And let's go ahead and unbox this wonderful budget-friendly phone from Motorola. Now, as you can see, it comes in this recyclable friendly box here, eco-friendly. And we're gonna open this up. And what do we have here? We have the phone unit, very light, 208 grams. We have a cable cord, no brick, so it's sticking to the recycle, and it has our SIM ejector tool and then some legal information, but pretty standard for American type companies, Apple, and then sometimes Samsung as well. But here it is, and I'm gonna avail it as such. And here it is in its glory. Now, upon the first opening of this is beautiful. It has a nice eco leather, which is kind of matted leather. Not going to scratch it to test the scratches, but no scratches on a little bit. And then here's a nice little green bezels around the camera, the dual camera setup. And then it says 50 megapixel OIS quad pixel. And then here is the display. So as you can see, it's got that Corning Gorilla Glass on here. And then the plastic frame right here. And then what do we see here? We have a headphone jack in its back. It's right here. And then on the side right here, you can actually add a SD card slot right here. So the 128 gigs, if it's not enough for you, go ahead and add you one of those card slots. And I can't stress enough how with $300, I can get a decent phone with okay camera specs, a headphone jack, good sound, and expandable memory. Wow, this is great. Now let's go ahead and turn on the phone and show you the display. So long story short, I've used this phone for about the last week, taking it out on locations and being able to take pictures with it. So I wanted to give you a nice, good feedback on it. And the display here is very nice. It is not the best display, but for a budget-friendly phone for $200, this is competing, you know, somewhere on the level of like a nice mid-range phone, even better. And then the better price you're getting on this is, you know, worth it. So, and the 120 hertz refresh rate is very apparent here. It is very nice. You got some bright colors, so when it's in, you know, daytime mode, it's nice. And this is how bright it can get. So I've tested it, and you can actually utilize that in the environment. Okay. So let me know what you think about this display, but it's phenomenal. I haven't had any issues with the display, haven't had any color issues or anything showing up. So that's good for a nice budget-friendly phone. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is what type of settings and what type of goodies you get with the Motorola. So the first thing you see when you open up the phone and you download everything, you have this Moto folder, and you have a few items that show up here. So you have your Moto, which is a app that shows all the settings that you can customize on this phone. You have Moto Secure, which secures your phone, obviously. Family Space, if you have multiple members of the family, you can show it here. It has a game center. It has Moto Unplug, which is like a Zen mode. And it has Smart Connect, where you connect to computer and maybe have a mirror situation and transfer files. That's pretty cool for $299. But I really wanted to show you this Moto app. So when you get this phone, the first thing you need to do is open this app and personalize the phone for your settings. So what I do is I look at every single item is showing here. Now with some other phones like Galaxy, they have some of these features, but you got to kind of search and look for them. Motorola has decided to give us all the features in one nice app, including the tips. So the first thing we're going to look at is personalization. So we're going to personalize our phone, and this is running Android 15. As you can see, you can add your wallpaper. You can choose your theme. You can choose your font. You can choose your colors. You can choose the icon shape. You can change the lock screen, the display size right here, the layout. You can change the layout, and you can go up to 5x7, which is pretty cool. So you can put all your apps on here at once, and you can customize the sound. As you can see, the sounds are right here. And then you can put it in dark mode or transition throughout the day. All of this is at the fingertips of the Moto app. The next one we're going to talk about are gestures. So if you want to customize the phone based off of what you like to do, you can just go here and look at all these options and turn them on or off. Now, some of these are on by default, but you can turn them off at any point, and some of these are off and vice versa. So you can activate the quick launch by looking at this video, and I love how they give you like quick examples of how to use it. So let's say I want to try it out, and I could just touch the back right here, It's telling me how hard I'm doing it. So we can just go here and show the quick launch. And so for the quick launch, you can set up what do you want to happen. You want to go back home, or you want to take a screenshot, switch to the last app, play music, open an app. So for instance, I'm going to set this up as an app, and I'm going to use, let's go with, I don't know, Facebook. So if I double tap now, it launches Facebook. So pretty cool, pretty neat. All right, let's get back to the Moto. So there's another gesture. If you get into it, is the sidebar. You want to make sure you turn that on so you can have even more options here. So it's right here on the side. And it gives you kind of like an instructional here. So you can expand it as big as you want to, and then boom, there are all your options right here. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is the quick capture. If you want to do a screenshot, you can flip your wrist, which is pretty cool. And then you can go to the phone settings and get to it. So that's cool. The next thing we're going to talk about, going down the line, the fast flashlight. So just shaking it and then shaking it off. Come on now. That's cool. Then we're going to do the 3-finger screenshot. Easy. Boom. It gives you all the options down here. What you want to do with it. Trash it. Boom. Lift to unlock. So this does have a face unlock, and it has a fingerprint sensor. I forgot to mention that. This is going to have how you're going to open the phone. Obviously, you can do the pin lock as well. So just keep that in mind. And then you have flip to go do not disturb. I have that off because I don't put this on disturb. Pick up to silence if you're getting a phone call. And then swipe to split, so you can create like a split screen. I've tried this multiple times. I don't really use it a lot, but they give you an example and a tutorial how to do it. I don't really care for it that much, but all I know is it does multitasking just like any other Android phone. And then you have the tips menu, and it tells you all the tips that you want. Moto Secure, as I mentioned, the Moto Secure app. You can also access it here in the Moto app, and you can create a secure folder, Android security settings, auto lock, all the above. And then display. So I like to get in my phone and change the display immediately to make it look attractive, beautiful, all that. So if you go to the lock screen, you can customize whatever type of items you want on here. So I have my camera and my flashlight app, and then all of the notifications are here. There's a weather, some apps right here, and then you have the clock app right here. So the next thing you can do is glance at the at the lock screen. So essentially, once you get the lock screen and you tap it, there's a glance that shows you kind of like the news right here, or if you're listening to music, so you can get that out the way. And another cool thing about this notification system on the lock screen, you can access them here by, I'm showing a preview by pulling it up here. And if you have a lot of notifications, you can slide through them and just preview each one of them. And then there's a clear all button if you have more than like 4 or 5 icons on here for notifications. So pretty neat. And it'll just show you how quick that fingerprint sensor is. Easy. And it's right there on the power button, the volume buttons. What a nice and neat phone. Now let's get back into the Moto app. So we talked about the lock screen, the attentive display, and then if you're still looking at it, it won't lock out, which is awesome. All right, so let's get back to the next thing, which is play. So you got your game controls, the media controls, and Adobe Atmos is on, the very top. So pretty cool from Motorola, and I can't stress how cool it is for $299. So the next thing I want to talk about is back to our display. And we have our typical changes. So I changed it to vivid to make my screen pop. I changed the refresh rate to 120 hertz refresh rate, 120 hertz refresh rate. Okay, auto rotate, the color contrast, you know, I don't really touch that. Screen. So some of these Motorola, you know, features, they kind of like are redundant somewhat, but they're all accessible to you at any point. Okay, so the next thing you want to know is, how are the cameras? Well, they are not bad, but they're not great. I would say a very subpar experience. Doesn't give you a lot, you know, a lot of detailed pictures, but you judge for yourself and comment below. Let me know what you think. All right, we're back. So the next thing we're going to test is the gaming. Now you get this phone, it's $299 plus tax. What am I going to get with the gaming experience? Well, you're going to get pretty close to a nice Android 15 phone smooth experience. Now it's not going to be the smoothest experience that you can, you know, get with all the frames per second, but very serviceable for $299. You're getting a lot more of it. So as we do for every video that we test the gaming, we always play Asphalt Legends. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and let's see what we're getting for our Motorola G Power 2025. So one of the things that's on there that shows up is your toolkit here, where you can, you know, change the frames per second or whatever. They recommended, you know, 60 frames per second, you know, 30 frames per second, but you know, you can do whatever you want to. And as you can see, everything's kind of running smoothly. You're not going to get a terrible experience here. So just keep that in mind. I mean, look at the display. Obviously, if you're playing in the sun, you know, it's going to, you know, affect it a little bit because it doesn't have that nice display. I mean, you can see my light right there, but you're still going to get a nice experience here. So let me know what you think. I would say I played this a lot and the battery doesn't, you know, drain a lot. So that's pretty cool. And as we're talking about that, let's talk about the battery life here. So as I mentioned before, it does have like up to 30 watts of wire charging, but then 15 watts of wireless charging. So that's pretty neat for $299. I mean, OnePlus 13R doesn't have wireless charging, and that one's $200 more at retail for the phone. So you're getting a little bit more bang for your buck here. And as you can see, easy does it, wireless works, can't complain. Now, whenever I'm throughout the day, I can last up to 17 hours of battery life, and that is no joke. This phone is definitely worth it. Obviously, if you're playing games all day, it might be tough, but just the daily things that I do, 17 hours, 15 hours, I'm getting that consistently. And taking this out on the prowl, I mean, this nice eco leather green is really showing its value, because you get compliments on it. They're like, hey, that's a nice little phone there. And when they hold it and you tell them, hey, this is Motorola, they're like, wait, they're still in business? But that's just me. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So this is a $299 phone. It is a great value proposition for what you're getting. Now, if you're into camera and photography, this is not the phone for you. This is a budget-friendly phone that you can give as a starter phone that has all the bells and whistles, and you can, you know, utilize your business apps, whatever you want to do with it. You get all your notifications, you get good gaming play, decent gaming play, get okay photography that I wouldn't necessarily like rely on, but you do get some, so you're not going to be, you know, out on that. And once again, it has two nice colors. The green one being really, really nice. It's plastic, it's cheap, but it's worth a good, you know, mid-grade, budget-friendly phone. So no complaints from me in this department, and I give this one an A+, and this is just as good as a nice mid-grade phone with Android 15. I said it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This is Julian with Julian Tech Reviews. Thank you for joining this channel. Let me know what you think about this phone. All right, peace.